Hello everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, you
Can
are
you just put
audible.
a message down there if I'm audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Okay, we'll just wait for some time because only 11 people have joined, no? Hello Prachi ma'am.
Is the screen visible?
Hello. Yes, yes, your screen is visible. We'll just wait for 5 minutes. If there are any members pending to join, they will join. Uh, I guess I'll start, ma'am. Uh, okay. Good evening, everyone. It's good to see you all here. I'm Yash, and I'm currently I was leading and managing this team for the webinar. So yes, welcome everyone to the session. It's great to see all of you have joined on time. So yes, so I'll first start with introducing my team. So that's Mobani Sarkar, Satyam, and Rashmita. So they are currently interning with the Nature Sai, and we were working towards this webinar. So yes, before we start, I'll just give some details about the Nature Sai. The Nature Sai, powered by Wildlife Arc, is a group of nature enthusiasts working towards like ecology and nature related events and webinars. They strive to bring informative and educational content to the world. Their motto is to bridging the gap between ecology and economy. They're also working towards empowering environmentalists. That is not just the budding environmentalists, but also the people that are looking forward to this field. We highly appreciate people that work in the field of ecology and which are contributing this to this great cause. So coming towards this webinar, we have our speaker here, Miss Prachi Hatkar. So Prachi ma'am, I'll just give some introduction about Prachi ma'am. So, Prachi ma'am, introducing Prachi ma'am. So she's a passionate marine conservationist, and she has done her MSc in zoology, specialized in oceanography and fisheries science, and currently she is pursuing her PhD at Wildlife Institute of India. She is doing research in dugong conservation of Gulf of Kutch in Gujarat, as the first woman to receive an international grant for diving certification from the from the Women Divers Hall of Fame. Prachi is breaking barriers in the field. Her extensive research, including 17 published papers and contributions to 21 technical reports, informs policymakers and stakeholders shaping ground action plans for endangered species. Prachi's commitment extends globally as a member of Marine Mammals of India research team and affiliations with IUCN's Commissions Education and Communication, that is CEC, and the World Commission of Protected Areas, WCPA. With a passion for marine life diversity assessment and conservation intersection with livelihoods, Prachi is a naturalist dedicated to preserving our marine ecosystems for future generations. So, yes, welcome, ma'am, and thank you very much for joining us here for this webinar. And over to you. And you can add if you want to add something, you can add in this. Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much.
Yash. Thank you for the wonderful introduction. So we'll start with today's webinar, which is Eco Adventures Planning to the Travel that Protects Wildlife. So as Yash mentioned already, I don't know why my screen is not okay. Okay, so as I mentioned by Yash, I'm a master's in zoology. Being a wildlife enthusiast, and I have been pursuing my PhD, and currently I have been nominated for B Naturalist Marine Conservationist Award. And my interest mainly lies in ecology, animal conservation, sports, and mountains. So what is ecotourism? So ecotourism is defined as the responsible tourism into the natural areas which conserves the environment and that sustains well-being of the local people around them, and which also involves interpretation of the educations as well. So the meaning of ecotourism has been changed from 1990 to 2000. So earlier it was like only ecotourism means only environmental conservation and education. Later on it was switched to it should also involve some socio-economic benefits as well as some conservation and education. In 2000, it ultimately changed to so many factors that it needs to have some equity dimension. It needs to have a sustainability ethics awareness and some sense of responsibility. It should also involve preservation of the heritage or the natural heritage and the culture of the locals over there. So the principles of this ecotourism. So the principle mainly involves conservation, communities, and sustainable travel. So this means the people who wants to implement or participate or market the ecotourism activities should need to adopt these principles. So there is one great quote which is sent by Lady Bird Johnson. So she says that environment is where all we meet, where we all have mutual interest, and it is the one things that all of us share, right? So coming to the principles of ecotourism, there is conservation, communities, and interpretation. So the ecotourism actually principalize on the minimizing the physical, social, behavioral, and psychological impacts on the environment to build an environment and create a cultural awareness and respect, and to provide a positive experience for both the visitors as well as the host. It actually provides direct financial benefits to the benefits from the conservation as well, and it also generates some financial benefits for both the local people as well as the private industries. So it actually delivers a memorable field experience that actually creates some sensitivity to the host countries or the political or the social climates. It actually designs, construct, and operates to minimum the impact facilities, and it actually recognizes the rights and spiritual beliefs of the indigenous community which are working in the particular areas. So the conservation actually offers a market-linked long-term solutions that actually provides some economic incentives to the local people who are working that actually helps them to protect the natural and cultural heritage of our beautiful planet. Communities, so the communities are the major part here. So the communities helps to it actually helps to bring up some employment opportunities that actually empowers the community to fight against the poverty and achieve some sustainable development. And the ecotourism also emphasizes on the interpretation. So if actually the ecotourism experiences promote some greater appreciation towards the nature, society, and culture. So these are some of the segments of the ecotourism. One is the ecotourism in wildlife. There is eco-adventure travels. There is sustainable travels. There are green travels, nature-based travels, responsible tourism. So we'll have a look one by one. So, what is ecotourism adventure? So, this is one particular field of the tourism which has been growing nowadays. It often involves travel to a destination where we have animals, plants, and cultural heritage, which are primary attraction of that place. And it also focuses on the local culture and wilderness of the adventure, or personal growth, and also volunteering, which actually gives us a new way of living in the planet. So basically, if you look for the eco adventures or ecotourism, it will be definitely defined. I mean, it is majorly restricted to the national park. So national park is an area particularly which is managed by the natural means, and it is made for the conservation of some particularly endangered species, which actually contributes to nation's culture, and it also acts as a recreational facilities, and the visitors numbers also are closely managed, so ensure that no damage is done to the protected areas or the indigenous people who are living surrounding that areas. So if you're planning for some eco-friendly itineraries, what things you need to look into or you need to keep in mind if you're traveling in India? So as an Indian, we know that mostly it is all connected by trains and local buses. So being a largest community or the largest rail network, it is primarily built for the transports and not for goods. So we can travel whenever possible. We can take up this local transportation, whichever different classes you choose for. If it is non-AC or AC, it's up to you. So pick up the right time for travel. So if you are traveling to India, if you can travel in the months of the December, or where we have lesser of humidity or something, humidity, because it depends on the states. So suppose the north states like Delhi and Rajasthan, the winter temperature drops down till 5 to 8 degrees Celsius also. So depending on the time that you are, depending on the destination that you are traveling to, you can choose the right time when you are traveling. So whenever we are traveling, we can try to travel by local buses whenever it is possible, because it almost creates less carbon footprinting. Choosing the destination. When choosing the destination, we can choose to stay at homestays or the farm stays, which are actually linked which are actually made up by the locals over there. So that gives us a sustainable, and also we can have we can actually get a hint of the local culture or the local food. You can try local food, of course, because these places are being run by the local people only, and that is more of a sustainable way for traveling as well. And another thing, if that is very personal, but you can try to avoid meat while you are traveling. So vegetarian diet is more like a sustainable diet in our planet. So if you want to try it, you can try to avoid meat completely when you're traveling, or you're when you're ordering food while you're traveling, or whenever you're visiting some places. So there is, when I was saying that there are different segments in the ecotourism industry. So one is the eco cultural tourism. So that cultural ecotourism actually helps in interacting and understandings about the cultural aspect of the trip. So one concept is the tea industry, which has been now in practiced in Kerala as well, if you are all aware of. Another is sustainable tourism. So any form of tourism which is not reduced, I mean, which actually does not reduce the resources available. So nowadays it happened that because of so many tourists going towards Manali, the city actually started getting a water shortage because so many of the tourists had come up, and I actually used up the available resources. So if the large number of tourists disturbs any local or the local resources, so that is not a sustainable tourism actually, or visiting that place is actually not sustainable, because we are actually reducing the natural resources which are there for the locals over there. So another is the eco tourism, eco adventure travel. So what is eco adventure travels? It's nothing but a combination of some adventurous activities with the environmentally responsible awareness, such as you can see kayaking or scuba diving, or even if the skydiving is one of the another eco adventure that you can think of. Another is the wildlife tourism. So wildlife tourism can also be eco-friendly and as well as animal-friendly. But usually in the safaris, we usually watch the wild animals in their natural behaviors. And a few from past few decades, this particular wildlife tourism has been increased in worldwide. So another is the responsible tourism. So obviously the tourism which actually operates in such a way that actually it actually minimizes the negative impact which has been done by the tourism activities on the environment. So if you are trying for a wildlife camping, then leave no traces ethics should be actually considered when we are going for some camping. Another is the nature-based tourism. So the remote jungles or the lodges actually falls into this place where we have some some eco-based or sustainable houses where we actually allow the tourists to come up. And another is green tourism, so that we can actually say that if if it involves any eco-friendly fashion composting, or there is some sustainable, there is some eco-friendly water filter system is there, or solar powered lighting system is there. So that is the instruments or the facilities are usually eco-friendly. So that is that involves actually the green tourism. And the question that we are asking, does wildlife tourism actually contributes to animal conservation? If you ask me, then actually it does affect the wildlife in some way, but it actually helps to build up some awareness amongst the locals or the people who are not associated with the job. So that involves actually responsible traveling, and ecotourism also ecotourism also involves travel to the natural areas that actually conserves and protects the environment for being a local, for well-being of that local. But the responsible travel that we can minimize the impact, the negative impact on the environment, that needs to be considered. So whenever we are trying to think of ecotourism, that involves learning about the local cultures in traditional ways, touring to national parks and protected areas, and of course, we can see a wide range of biodiversity, even if that is in marine or terrestrial areas. So the impact, if you see that there are positive impacts also, and there are some negative impacts that are involved in this whole ecotourism wildlife interaction. So that actually affects the individuals, then the population, the communities, as well as the ecosystem. So, and the social hierarchy system, it actually depends on the individual groups, the institution, and ultimately the society. So the what actually this national the national parks or the sanctuaries have done, it has created conservation for some exotic, some indigenous or endangered wildlife species which are endemic to India specifically. So as you can see in this picture, you can see a map that shows actually the wildlife sanctuaries and the tiger reserves that are so in India, actually, we have about 50 tiger reserves, but it's not just about conservation of tigers. The tigers act as a umbrella species for the conservation aspect. So if you say that I want to see a bird, nobody will be interested to see a bird. But if I say that we can see a lion or we can see a tiger in some protected areas, then we'll be very much enthusiastic to see a lion actually in their natural habitat, right? So what are the impacts? So coming to the negative impacts, so if we the most of the ecotourism or the ecotourism that involves a lot of displacement of the people, so protected areas, even if the surrounding of the protected areas, it actually, if we are building up some ecotourism activities or some rooms for the locals to visit, there will be a displacement of the people, and it actually in some extent it cause some threats to the indigenous cultures, or it can cause some mismanagement also. So this actually this ecotourism practices in some extent which are low impact or educationally or ecologically important, but it actually forces some people to leave their houses, and it is actually a violation towards their fundamental rights actually. So what other environmental hazards that include in this is also the which I was saying, that unsustainable agriculture practices or the urbanization which has been happening. So this has actually caused depletion of the natural resources of the particular places. And if you see that wildlife ecotourism is very happening, and it actually is growing right now, but it is often, if you see that it is eco-friendly, then we need to watch that animal without disturbing it. But nowadays, it has happened so much that the animals or the wild animals have got habituated towards the human presence, which was actually not the same case previously. But nowadays, that some of the activities which are carried out in the protected areas is that they will be taking up meats for luring animals to come near to the cars also. And so to understand the impacts of this wildlife watching within this ecotourism or eco wildlife tourism, it is it is necessary that people needs to expect from what people actually expect for watching this animals, that you need to keep some proximity for the sightings, or the it might also trigger or it might disturb the natural behavior of that particular animal, and it will also have some influence. It might be good influence or it might be bad influence for different species also. So they might start avoiding or getting habituated to the local coming up and throwing some food to them or something like that. So in a way we are changing their behavior also. So mostly the wildlife, the wild animals actually starts avoiding people to using some anti-predators adaptation. So this is based on the historical hunting where people used to hunt all kind of animals. And in contractories, wildlife tours also trying to make some wildlife viewable. So if you say that, "Acha, I got some rare animal or endemic animal I saw," and then we have to, like, we usually post it without thinking that, okay, I saw some endemic or a rare animal, or some poachers might get information after that, that okay, this is the animal we can hunt and we can poach it. So this is also one of the negative impact that comes up from this wildlife ecotourism as well. But what exactly, apart from all these negative impacts, there are some positive impacts of this ecotourism that can be summarized in four categories. So first is, we are directly managing this wildlife and supporting for research. So all the protected areas are helping for the research and observation, or actually helping us to know how the animal is behaving in their natural habitat. Some of them is, another is that because of the ecotourism, it also provided some finances for the wildlife conservation. So we can actually adopt some animal, we can adopt a lion for, or we can adopt their meals. We can, fund for their one meal or 1 day meal or something like that. And thirdly, it actually also helps to upgrade the economic status of the locals, which are actually helping to, host the community, or they actually educate the visitors also. And hopefully this kind of awareness will be keep I mean, they keep on creating the awareness among the local people, or they share some interesting fact that we would never know if we are not visiting that areas also, right? So the wildlife tourism actually makes some habituations also, and some attractions to, it acts as an attraction spot for the target animals. So the habituation is nothing but a response which is repeated, and due to some human presence. So after some time, the wild animals will start tolerating the human presence by reducing or neutralizing the flight reaction. So this was done by Dr. Diane Fossey, she actually started researching on the mountain gorillas, which was impacted by the wildlife tourism. And she then realized that the gorillas were actually getting habituated for the human presence, which was not in the case if they are living in their own in wild. So another thing that we can do, that it actually is as a attraction tourist spot for various wildlife and all. But so what we can do in other way, that we can just put up some natural holes, or we can dig some natural holes or artificial holes for the animals, that they can use for their food, or if so they will be positively attracted towards the food or the water that we are facilitating them. So the tourist needs to needs to have their needs to be on the best behavior, so that they don't disturb the animal, or they don't feed it deliberately, so that they don't manipulate their foraging or the natural behavior. So that needs to be taken care of. And for all these things, we need to have some management strategies and regulations, so which also needs to have it in a scientific research, that what are the long-term behavioral studies that actually impacts these terrestrial animals. So that might be a short-term impact or long-term impact, or is there any sensitive period for wildlife that needs to be evaluated. And after evaluating all these impacts, we need to take up this condition and analyze for some sustainable ecotourism. We need to come up with some solutions for that also. So there are some case studies which have been very of great responses for the wildlife ecotourism. So there is one sea turtle festivals in Maharashtra, which actually involves the sea turtles are actually Schedule 1 species. And there is one NGO in Ratnagiri, which is called as Sahyadri Nisarga Mitra, along with the forest department and the local panchayat. From 2002, in Velas village in Ratnagiri, they have uh, successfully started sea turtle conservation. So how they are doing it actually. So they whenever the sea turtles are coming onto the beaches to lay their eggs, they all collect, the local people along with the fishermen and the forest department, they collect the eggs and they hatch it in the sand, I mean there itself. and after 50 or 60 days of hatching, the sea turtle babies come out. And the festival is actually organized to release the baby turtles back to the sea. So from that aspect, they have been helping in the conservation activities as well. Another case studies, as you can see, is there is mangrove ecotourism has started. So this has started in Ratnagiri, which is initiated by the Mangrove Forest, Mangrove Foundation, and Mangrove Cell. So this actually includes some crocodile safaris, the bird watching, and they also have some homestays, and you can have your breakfast facilities over there. So they have particularly timing for the ecotourism trail walk or so. So actually, this actually helps in creating some awareness. It's not only just to have fun, but we actually get close to the nature. Another thing, if you have gone through or you have been to the Flamingo Sanctuary, which is in Thane Creek. So this was actually the site has actually declared as a Ramsar site, which is an important wetland area which covers about 17 square kilometer. And this sanctuary actually act as a refuge area for the flamingos which are coming in during the winter times, and to avoid the harsh condition, the colder condition. So they come up here just to have their food, and then they take back for the long journey towards their breeding site. Another festival, if you many of you might not have known about this or no, there is one Hornbill festival which is being conducted in Nagaland. So this festival usually takes place between 1st December to 10th every year in Kohima district. So this particularly festival is dedicated towards the bird conservation for by the locals, which have been helping this bird to conserve for the future generation. So what are things that we can do as a tourist? So you can carry all non-biodegradable stuff for you can't, so that you won't litter, such as we usually have a habit of carrying out some plastic bottles, and then we throw it, or we buy some chips or okay. So I was saying that if the toilets, or we can use some portable toilets which are actually placed in some nearby areas, that we can use it. Okay. Um, and what needs to be avoided. So we can avoid cleaning and bathing, or avoid using some detergents while we are enjoying in the springs or the streams. If you are cooking in the campsite, we can avoid using wood as a fuel. So whenever we are going in the forest land, we should avoid leaving the cigarette stubs, or built up some open fire if we are lighting up some fire, or we can avoid consumption of some beverages or alcohols or narcotics, and mostly the plastic and the polythenes, which are actually non-biodegradable, and they are actually harmful to the environment. So try to less it try to use it less, or try to not discard it. And also another this trend is now, which is happening in Thailand and all, that you actually start petting or touching the wild animals like their cats and dogs. So that is which are already chained. So they are actually drugged and kept it for for the tourists to just make it as an attractive tourist place. So we can stop visiting such places, or we can, you can avoid going to such places as well, which is only keep the captive animals just for the entertainment purpose. So, in conclusion, what I'm not so sure about, that world needs an ecotourism, wildlife ecotourism, but it won't work without wildlife. That is for sure. So, although the not all the impacts are exclusively due to wildlife watching or wildlife tourism businesses, but the negative impact of this wildlife ecotourism and wildlife is on this wildlife is actually affected by frequency, intensity, and the distance between the people and wildlife in time of their life cycle or the different stimuli. So at the moment is not very clear this impacts are on the terrestrial wildlife or on the individual case or at the population level. But however, the changing population dynamics in the birds and reptiles, such effects are important when any threatened species are involved. So, ecotourism can be of a great potential to actually, it can be a sustainable and it can contribute to wildlife conservation if it is done in an appropriate way. So, we need to look for the indicators that are very helpful to evaluate the management and to find out what impacts it has been giving, and how to, in order to reduce this impact, what solutions can be done. So we can preserve the local culture as well, and we can preserve the wildlife and the natural resources as well. So if you're traveling, then travel sustainably and eco-friendly way. And so what students, how can students get involved in this? So the college students can get into different ecotourism destination for as a part of their research activities. So there are many job opportunities coming up as a naturalist. So we can get involved there as a naturalist. We can volunteer in the some conservation projects where the projects involve some ecotourism destination and reforestation, wildlife watching, or some beach cleanup activities. You can also visit some ecotourism destination and learn about how it is getting benefited, or what are the challenges for the sustainable tourism. You can take it up as a business proposal or the business project to manage some eco-friendly destination or the accommodation for the tour operators. You can get involved with the community for the community engagements as well, to understand their impact on the community, and you can plan to develop some ecotourism sustainable plans or management activities as well. Also, there is new you can say blogging or YouTuber, which is being now currently in trend. So you can actually try to create some blogs or some podcasts to share your experiences. And you can, in that blogs also, you can educate others about the ecotourism importance, or how the sustainable way is actually going to help us in the future. And also you can get into policy and advocacy. So you can try to research on those policies or regulations which are governed by this ecotourism activities, and you can how you can advocate for sustainable tourism practices in the future. So thank you for listening. If you have any questions, then please go ahead and ask, and take nothing but memories and leave nothing but the footprints, which are an easy introduction to ecotourism. That's all I have to say. So I am open to questions. If you have any questions, then let me know. Anybody has any questions? Hello?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Yeah,
It was a
thank
great
you.
session, ma'am. I really like the last part you said. Take nothing but the memories and leave nothing but the footprints. Yes, that was a great session. If anyone has any questions, they can put it in the chat box or just unmute themselves and ask.
Or I would like to have a feedback. How did you find this session? Or you want to know more anything about it? Anything?
Everyone, if you are not comfortable to unmute, you can just put it in the chat box. We will read. Okay, I think no one has any query. Oh, there's a feedback by Satyam, Tasneem.
Hi, Tasneem. Thank you. It was a great listening to you. Only if you can elaborate how the negative impacts of the animal where their drugs and only atrocities are practiced as well. So these practices have been done in the Thailand, if you see it. So they actually drug this animal just to keep them for the attraction for the tourists, so that you can touch the tiger and have selfies with them. So obviously, if you're drugging any animal for a long period over time, it will obviously have some impact on their physiology also. So it is in a wrong way that we are doing it for some tourism activities. I hope this answers your question or your. So I hope
Uh,
that everybody will.
Ma'am, I have one
Yeah,
doubt.
please, please.
Since you have specialized in oceanography and marine science, so can you give some insights about marine ecotourism? So, like, how can we make ecotourism like related to marine or water bodies more sustainable?
So if you ask me, whenever I visit protected areas here, so people have a tendency to just, if we are going in the intertidal areas, so whenever we see any octopus or we see any shells, we have a tendency to pick it up, and then if there it is an empty shells, then people, take it and use it for their tanks and all. But marine shells are completely different from the freshwater that we keep it for the tanks or we keep it for our recreational purposes. So that things needs to be avoided. There are also some uh, countries where some dolphins and orcas are kept in captivity. So that is also a practice which has been ongoing, but Whaling Commission has been trying to ban such activities for future, so that the lifespan of the particular orca or that animal is lessened because they are kept in captivity. So it puts them in depression also. So if suppose you are keeping a 400 kgs of animal in some swimming tank, so how will that animal will survive, because it is not its natural habitat. So no wonder what we do for them, it is not a good practical or ethically right for the animals to be kept in that captivity.
Okay, ma'am. Understood. Also, one thing, when fishermen catch like fish, because they do this bulk thing, so the net can catch anything, so you can't tell that. So if they catch some exotic species or something endangered, so what do they do? So realistically, and what should they do? So both things, करते भी क्या है और वो उन्होंने करना क्या चाहिए उस
So
कंडीशन में.
अगर जैसे fisherman को in currently the project which I'm working on, I'm currently working on a marine mammal. तो ये वाला जो marine mammal है, it is typically very shy. It is not like कि आपको dolphin जैसा दिख जाएगा, जैसे dolphin tourism भी चलता है. So we try to inform या फिर we try to make the fishermen aware about कि अगर ये particular animal क्यों important है, या कोई shark आ जाता है या कोई कछुआ आ जाता है, तो यू कैन डू इज आप उनको छुड़ा सकते हो जो नेट आपका कट हो चुका है. सो द गवर्नमेंट ऑल्सो और द फॉरेस्ट डिपार्टमेंट ऑल्सो ऑफर्स some compensation because they are cutting the nets. So cutting the nets to release that animal, the fishermen are actually getting like कि उनका 50,000 का जो जाली है उनको अगर आप कट कर रहे हो और फिर उनको मेंड भी नहीं किया जा सकता या वापस से स्यू नहीं कर सकते. सो इसीलिए उनको रिलीज का जो है उनका कोई अगर प्रूफ है उनके पास, तो वो लोग डिपार्टमेंट को दे सकते हैं एंड अल्टीमेटली द डिपार्टमेंट प्रोवाइड्स अ कंपनसेशन टू देम. सो अभी के लिए जो फिशरमैन है दे हैव स्टार्टेड रिलीजिंग एनी endangered species जैसे व्हेल शार्क हो गया, सी टर्टल्स हो गए, डुगोंग्स हो गए. सो इनिशियली जैसे जैसे उनको अवेयर करते गए उसके बाद ये सारा होता गया. सो इफ वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट endangered animals, so they are the one who are actually helping us to conserve the species.
Okay, ma'am, great, understood. Does anyone have any queries other than me? I guess I guess that's it. Okay. So thank you very much, ma'am. That was a very such a great and insightful session. Really liked the session, like listening about ecotourism, like something that actually is contributing to a great cause, because not everyone is so mindful or thoughtful while traveling. So yes, I would like to thank you for from Nature's Eye from and I would like to give a my like vote of thanks now. So I express my sincere gratitude to Prachi ma'am for her exceptional and insightful explanation, providing us a thorough explanation about ecotourism. My heartfelt thanks goes to my interns that made this event possible, did the promotion, editorial stuff, and everything. My appreciation for Nature's Eye team and all the core members for their support in organizing and conducting this event, from like making us decide the topic to this to this very day, from generating the link for this session. Your collective efforts have made this event possible. Thank you all for your dedication and commitment. And thank you, my biggest thank you to the participants for joining. Without you, this event mustn't have been possible. So yes, thank you. And about the certificates, all of you will get certificates in 4 to 5 working days for this session, and you'll also get a recording of this session if you have missed anything, or if you want to like listen to it or watch it again. So yes, thank you very much. Ma'am, do you want to add anything?
No, if you have any other questions that you are shy to ask me, you can follow me on the social media pages and feel free. If you have any queries related to wildlife careers or so feel free. Please feel free to approach me directly. It's fine.
Yes, ma'am. Some of I think one there's a one participant that wants to connect to you. So can you just put your socials in the group?
Sure,
You can
sure.
put it in the group, WhatsApp group.
Yeah, yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that.
And yes, if you want to post anything like related to your work, you can post it in the group as well. So yes, everyone, you can connect to her and ask if you are not like, comfortable asking here. You can ask her personally. Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you.
Uh, yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. And thank you, everyone, for joining.